All right, welcome back. A Lagos-based lawyer, Ebolu Adegborua, has gone to court to challenge the directive of the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, that the All Progressives Congress should substitute his deceased governorship candidate in Kogi State. Now, that's Abubakar Audu with another candidate. The AGF Malami had actually suggested that in the face of no express provision by either the Constitution or the Electoral Act, the APC actually should substitute the late Audu with another candidate to conclude the election. But in his suit filed on Thursday, Adegborua is arguing that Malami's suggestion is contrary to Section 181(2) of the 1999 Constitution. He says given what has actually happened in Kogi State, the constitutional requirement is that a fresh election be conducted. Now, according to him, the Constitution did not recognize any arrangement whereby votes will be preserved in the memory of a dead candidate for the purpose of transferring same to another candidate who was not a part of the previous election that had been declared inconclusive. Also joined as respondents in the suit are INEC, the opposition People's Democratic Party, the late Audu's party, that's the APC. Mr. Adegborua, of course, wants the court to actually declare that a fresh election should be conducted in Kogi State. I'm now being joined on the program by Mr. Onyekachi Ubani, who's a lawyer, to also waiting on this issue. Mr. Ubani, thank you very much for joining us on the program. First, I want to ask your opinion of this suit now filed by Mr. Adegborua, of course, who is, as you would always say, your colleague.
Well, the point is that what has happened in Kogi State is something that was not provided for in our Electoral Act and even the Constitution. And so there is a haze of opinion, and different people are expressing different views concerning what has actually transpired in Kogi. And I think that people should not be accused of not taking action or remaining very quiet about certain things they're supposed to do. Now, if actions are taken and somebody feels aggrieved, the proper place to visit is the court. And so if a colleague of ours has gone to court in order to challenge what INEC has pronounced or the advice that the Attorney General has given, I think he's taking the right steps so that the court can actually look at those actions taken, whether they have contravened any law. That is my take with respect to my colleague going to court. So the court will be in a better position to make a pronouncement concerning that if it satisfies all the requirements of local standard and it passes through that particular hurdle and then succeed in convincing the court to look into the allegation and the grievances he has expressed, the court will be in a position to make a pronouncement.
Okay, now, but let's look at the situation. What's your take on it? Should there be another election, or as the deputy governorship candidate to the late Audu has come out to say that he should be declared the governor-elect? What's your take on that?
Well, my take is that neither the deputy governor nor the candidate of PDP can rightly ask the court to declare them winners because the election itself was regarded as inconclusive. And as long as that election is regarded as inconclusive, no party has the right to actually ask the court to declare him the winner. But I am totally in support of a supplementary poll. A supplementary poll that will take into cognizance factual situation. And what are those factual situations? One is that a candidate who participated in that election and was with the highest vote has actually died, and the election was declared inconclusive. And INEC declared what we call a supplementary poll. And then, all of a sudden, that candidate that has the highest vote died. And if you look at the section that made a provision for issue of death, is section 33 of the Electoral Act. And that particular section talks about the circumstances under which a political party can actually substitute a candidate. is either if there is a withdrawal of the candidature of that particular candidate intentionally or death. And if you look at that particular
but hold
section,
on now,
but
the death there does not talk about death after the election has been conducted.
People are giving interpretation that it must be before the election. If you look at section 33, it never specified whether that particular occurrence will be either before or during or after, even though all assumption is that it must be before. Now, they are also strengthened by section 36 of the Electoral Act that says if before the election a candidate dies, there are consequences for that particular death and what INEC is expected to do. But section 33 was very silent as to when the death itself, occurs, what will happen. So people have started now to argue and argue very, strongly that that particular section should be the one applicable at this juncture. And that is if a candidate dies, then the political party will be asked to substitute.
Could I ask you one question
is
now?
what INEC has
let us look at the case of Falike, that's a deputy governorship candidate. If the Electoral Act and even the Constitution actually recognizes the ticket of a governor as a joint ticket, and don't you think he has a point to say that, look, he should be declared the winner, considered the candidate, because his lawyer, Wole Olanikpekun, has actually said, look, it's a joint ticket, and that it just wouldn't make sense at all to nominate another candidate to take over, especially when you consider the fact that that candidate, of course, did not campaign at all. That it's like you're preserving a vote for someone else to come and take over.
Well, it's important you also take into cognizance another section of the Act itself, and that is section 141, that talks of issue of a court not declaring any person a winner if that person has not participated in all the stages of the election. All the stages. All the stages include the primary election up to the main election. Now, did Falike participate in the primary of APC election, or was he chosen after the emergence of the gubernatorial candidate of APC? That is the question you must ask. And if the answer is yes, that he was chosen after the emergence of Audu Abubakar, then can you rightly say that he participated in all the stages of the election itself? That is where I am having problem in having Falike to actually now, come into the position of the person that will continue with the electoral process. Because if you do that, then you may run into problem with PDP, who may begin to argue that Falike was chosen after the primary has already been concluded.
But I'm asking, is it not a joint ticket? If, for instance, Audu had not actually died, and probably he was pronounced governor-elect, and just before the swearing in now, he dies, obviously Falike will take over.
Well, the Constitution was very clear as to what happens if a result has been declared, and then the candidate has been declared duly elected. Is there the section 181 of the Constitution was very clear as to what should happen. Falike should have actually been sworn in as the governor, and he will be in a position to choose his deputy. Now, the Constitution was also very clear as to when the governor himself has taken oath of office, and that particular governor dies, the deputy governor actually becomes the governor. He will be sworn in as a governor. So the provision, for the deputy is when the election has been actually duly, conducted and declared, and result declared and a winner declared. But in this circumstance, there was no conclusion of that electoral process. It was declared inconclusive, and that is where we're having problem. Falake was almost just near, and then was so far away as a result of the fact that the election was declared inconclusive, and that is a factual situation. And that's why you will laugh at any person at this juncture asking that he should be declared a winner. Neither Falake or the Idris Wada can rightly approach any court and say they should be declared a winner, because there was a factual situation. And what is that factual situation? Is the fact that the election was declared inconclusive. And when it's inconclusive, it means that it was not concluded and no winner was actually declared.
Can I ask you another question? Let me just ask you to react to what Wole Olanikpekun, the lawyer to Falike, has actually argued. That, look, whether you like it or not, INEC erred to have declared the election inconclusive because, okay, fine, INEC says the elections, the supplementary elections will take place in 91 polling units, and that their argument is that when you consider the number of PVCs and the number of accredited voters in that in those polling units, that altogether the number of PVCs, when you consider, will be around just 25,000, and not even the 40,000 registered voters that INEC is talking about. And in reality, indeed, it's only those with PVCs who would actually be allowed to vote in the first place, isn't it?
Well, the point is that the Electoral Act itself made a provision as to registered voters. It never made provision for issue of accredited voters or those who have PVC. It said if the total number of registered voters is more than the difference between the person with the highest vote and the person with the second highest vote, then means that you have to declare that the election inconclusive.
And that's what I'm asking. Don't you think there is a problem there? If that's what the Electoral Act says, and in reality, people who do not have PVCs are not allowed to vote, then why do we have to consider the number of registered voters in a particular area, especially if most of these registered voters do not have the PVCs? Because in reality, they would not vote on election day.
No, that question makes a lot of sense, but the law itself is already there. What the law said, registered voters. It did not say those with PVC or those who are accredited persons. He said those registered voters. That's the word used. And so we cannot here now change the law, by our own sentiment. If the law is very express, there is no other interpretation you can give to that law if it has been very express. So it's very express that what is the major word used by the Electoral Act is actually registered voters.
One other thing I would ask you, let's look at the PDP case, for instance. I mean, of course, we had the PDP spokesman coming out to say, look, with the death of Wada, that the APC's case has crashed, that it's like the APC's plane has crashed, and so the man who is in second position should be allowed to take over. Your comment on that, please.
Well, I've said it before, even when I was commenting, that the election itself was inconclusive, and that is a factual situation. And you cannot overrule that fact. If INEC has made a pronouncement that that particular election was inconclusive, so there was neither a winner nor a loser. So I mean there was no winner. So it would be improper for any person, either Faleke or Idris Wada, to ask the court to declare him a winner because he is a living person, and of course the person with the second highest vote. That cannot be, because the factual situation exists that the election itself was inconclusive. So I don't know the basis under which the court will declare him the winner. Either under the Electoral Act or under the Constitution, it will be very, very difficult and an impossibility for a court to declare Idris Wada a winner of that election. And as I said earlier, it's because of the factual situation that there was election that was inconclusive.
And you actually don't think that this situation might probably call for a fresh election and not a supplementary election?
That's INEC?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you look at the whole situation. What would you say about the arguments of those? I mean, lawyers like yourself who have come out to say, look, what this situation demands now is a fresh election and not a supplementary election as INEC has decided. Because that if you're organizing a supplementary election, it's like you're preserving votes in memory of a dead person.
Well, people have also cited Rotimi Amechi's case, in which the Supreme Court held that votes actually belong to the political parties and not to a particular individual. And that is a Supreme Court that has not been overruled. And so if INEC has made a pronouncement asking the parties to go for supplementary election, I will not see INEC reversing that decision until probably a court makes a pronouncement. So they have taken an action, they have advised, and all the parties are preparing for that election. So it will be difficult for INEC at this juncture to cancel the election. Let me say this, DEJI. The INEC as a body has limited circumstances under which it can cancel election. The Act itself prescribes 2 instances. If there are crises in an area of total confusion, or overvoting occurs, INEC has the right to cancel an election. That is in the Act itself. There is nowhere it was provided in the Act that one of the reasons for INEC to cancel the election is death. death cannot in any way be a reason for the cancellation of an election that has actually taken place. And so if INEC goes ahead to cancel election at this juncture, it will be contravening the Electoral Act, which has circumscribed the situation under which INEC can cancel election. As I said earlier, death is not a reason for cancellation of an election result. And so if that is the reason for this cancellation, then that would be contravening sections of the Electoral Act, which provided the reasons under which INEC can cancel election.
But of course, you must admit that this whole confusion is coming up just because the Constitution and even the Electoral Act is not actually clear on a situation like this. I mean, the death of a candidate while the election is still on.
Yes, we have said that there is a great lacuna, you know, in the Electoral Act and in the Constitution, because the Constitution was careful to make provision for where election itself has taken place and results announced and winners, you know, emerge. And, you know, and the person now, one of the parties dropped dead. You know, the election, I mean, the act itself has made provision as to what should happen, you know, before taking, you know, oath, or even after taking oath. He also made a provision before the election. But this issue of when election itself has taken place and votes announced, but a candidate now drops dead. And also it is important to know that election now declared inconclusive. There has been not such a thing before in our political history, and this is the first time it's happening. At the same time, it is novel. It is very, very novel. And so there is no provision as to what should happen precisely in situations like that. And so because of this matter that is not precise, a lot of people are giving it a lot of interpretation. Many lawyers with different perspective and different understanding. And you must oblige them because, you know, the law wasn't precise as to what should happen. You know, but I think that all these matters will be resolved in the court. And I tell you that no matter what you think about this case, it will end up in the judiciary. No matter what you do in the circumstance, it will go to, even if you say ask for a fresh election, somebody will challenge INEC that INEC has no power to cancel the election that has actually taken place, except in the manner prescribed by the law. So in whatever way you want to see it, everyone is ready to go to court. Is the APC that are ready to go to court if INEC takes a wrong decision or they feel that they are aggrieved? The same thing with PDP. PDP feels aggrieved. They have a right to go to court over this matter. And the court will make a pronouncement concerning this matter. All of us, you know, we smile at the end of the day, you know. And I think no matter how you look at it, it will certainly end even at the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
I have no doubt that this is surely going to get to the Supreme Court. But let me ask you one final question now before I let you go. What do you make of the decision of some APC leaders now from Kogi East, we understand, who are saying, look, the APC should consider the son of the late Abubakar Audu as its governorship candidate, substitute him, so to speak, with the name of his son.
That would be an absurd decision actually to take, and that's why they have been prevaricating on that. Now, if you want to go for fresh primary, there are consequences. You have to give INEC certain number of days for notice, you know, issue of notice has to come in. And if you don't comply with that, then that candidate will not be regarded as qualified to contest an election. And remember, I've quoted also Section 141 of the Electoral Act, which says a candidate cannot be declared a winner who has not participated in all the stages of the election. And so whoever is coming in now, either is his son or is a cousin or the wife, never participated in all the stages of the election. So it will clearly be absurd and wrong, you know, and a suicidal mission for APC actually to conduct any fresh primary, bringing somebody that did not participate in all the electoral process. It will be wrong. It will be ill-advised, and I don't think that they will take that decision. That's why up to now, no pronouncement has been made with regard to that. It's only, I called somebody who is very close and he says it's only a rumor. It's not possible for such a decision to be taken by APC.
Mr. Bani, thank you very much for your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let's just watch and see how this all plays out. But as you said, there's no question at all that this will surely get to the Supreme Court. I have no doubt at all.
Supreme Court, and I know that all of us will smile at the end of the day because all this issue will be resolved by the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. All you just need to do is go to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll find the program and lots more there. You can also watch us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TV360Nigeria, or follow us on Google Plus now. That's at TV360Nigeria. Or like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360online. Thank you very much for watching. Let's wait and see how this is all resolved, especially for the people of Kogi State. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.